Hello and welcome to another political dialogue program. This week we have very important guests and very important topic as well. We will talk about the latest developments in Athens, Prosfigika. We will start by introducing first of all our guest. So dear Valentini Shiova, thanks for joining us today first of all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So Dimos Karavoltios, thanks for accepting the interview.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I would like to first start with dear Valentini. So if you can very shortly, very briefly introduce yourself, and then I will ask you the first question.
Hello, I'm a member of the community squatted Prosfigika in the center of Athens, Greece, in Greece.
Perfect. Dimos, also, if you can introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Dimos Karavoltios. I'm living in a Prosfigika community for the last 16 years. Prosfigika community is a squatted neighborhood in the center of Athens, between the central police headquarters and the Central Supreme Court in Athens.
Thank you so much. So let's start with Valentini. So if you can briefly explain what is the Prosfigika and tell us little about its history as well.
So Prosfigika is a complex of buildings, of housing, on Alexandros Avenue in Athens, in Greece. They were being building between 1933 and 1936 in order to housing refugees that came from Minor Asia. As you know, in 1922, there was a catastrophe in Micrasia, so the refugees, the Greek refugees, came in Greece. And these buildings, there are 8 blocks, let's say, with 228 apartments. There have been building during this period according to the movement Bauhaus, to host housing, let's say, people that came from Minor Micrasia. So the life was going really well for them as they came from this catastrophe. In 1944, we had the civil war in Greece with when the occupation of Germany has stopped in the Second World War, then we had this civil war. And there were big fights inside the Prosfigika with the residents and other resistant forces against the Greek state and also the British, let's say, troops that they came also to support the Greek state. So today you can see also the marks of the bullets on the walls around the buildings. The state, after all this that happened after the Civil War, let's say, had a purpose on attacking the collective memory of what does it mean, these buildings. So what they have done is to make some plans in order to demolish these buildings. Dictatorship has the first plan of this demolish, a plan that has never happened actually, but still the Greek state had different plans in case to take these buildings. So in the late of 90s, let's say, they had the offer, let's say, of giving some money to the people that they were staying there, the legal owners, in case to empty these buildings. So what has happened is that 51 of them had a great resistance. They went to the courts with the professors, with the architecture school, let's say, with other organizations that they were supporting them. And in 2009, finally, these buildings has been recognized as new historical monuments. So the story of demolishing them has stopped. But although the Greek state wanted to take them in a different way. So they had plans, every government also had, almost had plans about how they are going to take Prosfigika. When the Prosfigika has empty in 2000, they have been started to occupied from different people from anarchist movement, Kurdish, Turkish, organizations, people that they were homeless, but inside all these various groups, there were also mafias. Different kind of mafias, but the most strong, let's say the most tough, it was the mafia that was producing drugs, and they were selling them in the center of Athens. So the first collectivization, let's say, started to face these mafias. So in 2010 this happened, and this was the base of the community. All the different people that were there from 27 different countries, different languages, different political, ideological, religion backgrounds, all these people, we have collectivized and we make a commune, which after this, in 2020, we make our frame that was very important for us because we make some common agreements and we have based our collectivization in some principles.
Thank you very much. Also, the communal living perspective and this paradigm also supported by Kurdish leader Mr. Ocalan. We will come to that as well, but I would like to continue with Dimos. Dear Dimos, there is people are still in hunger strike to stop what's happening in Prosfigika now. So if you can explain first of all, how is the hunger strike started, and also, despite the serious health risk faced by your comrades on hunger strike, the regional authorities and the government appear determined to continue with this project, basically. So nothing has been changed yet. So what is your response to this situation by giving the hunger strikes background as well?
Yes, in June of 2025, the new plan, the new project of gentrification from the Greek state came on surface, and we found ourselves in a very difficult condition. The Greek society and the Greek movements are in a frozen situation. In Greece, generally, the political situation is very difficult. And we knew that sooner or later, our community was about to be evicted and destroyed. So we searched to find some tools of struggle to oppose this plan, to open our struggle in society and to press the state. Of course, because of our relation with the Kurdish and the Turkish revolutionary movement, hunger strikes, it's something familiar to us. The hunger strike in Ahmed prison it was always an inspiration for us. So we understood that we must make an overcome to the tools that we are using to press the state, and collectively we decide to use this weapon. Two of our comrades, Aristotelis Hadjis and Suzanne Topan, started voluntarily a hunger strike, the first one from 5th of February. He's now in 120 days. And our comrade Suzanne, from 1st of May, she's now in 36 days. Our struggle is successful until now, although the Greek state doesn't make an official step back, although we had avoided eviction and police repression. The plan of the state is almost frozen. Our demands have been covered in a way, as has to do with that we are still remaining in our neighborhood, but still we are asking for some official guarantees, recognition of our community and our autonomy, and also guarantees that the project will not go on and no one of us will be evicted.
Thank you. That was very clear and to the point. Thank you so much. So we'll continue with Valentini. So when the buildings, this self-organized community, what ideas, what kind of principles and experiences did you draw inspiration from? And what are the core values that guide Prosfigika, and how does the daily life function there in practice? As you said, the communal living is also very important for the Kurds as well. So what is the details about these communal livings and what is the principles?
Yes. So when we have started to collectivize, as you can understand, and Dimos has a reference to that, we have been inspired, of course, of the Kurdish movement, to the Zapatistas also. All the movements, the history traditional movements in general, that they're in our days. Also the examples of the modern revolutionary movement from Kurdish, as we said, freedom movement to Zapatistas, the anarchist movement, the communist tradition, and the Turkish revolutionary movement. The system of us has been based on equality, horizontality, autonomy, solidarity, and direct democracy, and also very important, the women liberation. So let's say the daily life is full of discussions, assemblies, a lot of work inside the buildings because the buildings are old and all the time we renovate them. We have new structures that we are also fixing them. We're working in the 22 structures that we have. They are autonomous structures, and I can say some examples. We have a bakery structure that also named Berkin Elvan. We are working in the, let's say, in the cloth structure, in the woman structure, as I said, in the technical group, in all the structures that we have. We also have a very important structure that is for children. And for the very little one, we can say it's kindergarten, something like that.
Very nice. Also, this should be inspiring for the whole world. What you're doing down there is basically there is many stateless people who also seeking for democracy in their own countries. So this kind of work is basically can be an example. So the people should be thankful to you. So let's continue with Dimos. Dimos, do you have a message or any call to action for those who are watching us today? And also, of course, there is many other questions, but I would like to also get your message for the people who is going to listen this program.
First of all, I want to mention that Prosfigika is a part of what we can call the river of democratic society in the era of democratic modernity. So it's one world that it's separated to a lot of different worlds. But all these different worlds are one community. We must always have this in mind. And this is the main reason that the states are attacking us. So also we must have in mind that altogether we lose and altogether we win. So this is a common fight, a lot of different fights, but at the same time a common fight. It's important for all of us to understand that all together we support and we protect our paradigm for a new society. This means our world, the world of people, and the world of democracy and equality and freedom. For all of this, we are using any tool we have in our hands, actions, demonstrations, interventions, diplomacy, propaganda, and also for this reason we came to the European Parliament these last days, also to press the Greek state in this field.
Thank you so much. Also, the Prosfigika has often referred to Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan's paradigms of democratic confederalism as one of its source of inspiration. So what aspects of this paradigm are particularly meaningful and relevant to your struggle and the way of organization of?
First of all, we are inspired from all the tradition of the socialist movement. And we are trying to learn and to implement all the elements that there are precious in our movements. We learned about the new paradigm from Abdullah Ocalan's book through our relation with the Kurdish freedom movement and also through our experience in the Rojava Revolution. So we tried to implement, as I said, all these elements in our struggle. For us, autonomy is very important. Confederalism, it's very important. In reality, our community is organized in a confederalistic way. As Comrade Valentini said before, we are 27 different nationalities, a lot of different religions, etc. So exactly this paradigm inspired us on how we should organize our community, although that the needs made us work on this model from the beginning. But as we learn from other movements, we take things, we make our examples more in a better way, and we have the responsibility to learn, especially from one of the biggest movements nowadays in the world, that it's the Kurdish freedom movement.
Yeah, so the Kurdish freedom movement also inspiring the whole world, like communes and democratic confederalism as well. But just then as an extra question, what is exactly the paradigms for such an example that you inspiring from, specifically from Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan's paradigms, such as the gender equality or ecology or democratic confederalism? So which side is much more realistic to you to apply it to the daily life?
I don't think that it's good to prioritize one over the other. All of these elements have their specific value, and they can apply connected between themselves. But for us, the most important thing is collective life. Through collective life, we build our societies, and through collective life, we can reach all the other elements that we mentioned before: equality, freedom, women's liberation, autonomy, etc., etc. So there is nothing more than the other, but all of these, they must be connected in an equal way to produce what we hope as a new society and a new world.
Thank you. That was very clear and to the point. Thanks. So, dear Valentini, 4 months you have been resisting a development project that includes the forced eviction of residents of the Prosfigika. So, could you explain what this project entails and what you oppose to it, why you opposing it to it, and what's the remain demands are? What are you demanding from now, from the world or the comrades? So what should be done to stop the Greece government to taking out this? Also, I would like to understand what is exactly this project, what they want from there.
Yes. As I was saying previously, the Greek state had a lot of plans in case to take Prosfigika. At the beginning, it was to demolish them. Then, when they had been recognized as new historical monuments, they couldn't do it. So they had some plans how they are going to get this historical place. And the last plan, they had different plans. The one it was to make underground parking, to make a mall, etc. So as Dimos said before, in June 2025, there was a contract between the region of Attica, the Ministry of Culture, and the Unemployment Service. This plan was about to take the 4 of the 8 blocks and make them social housing, and also to make a structure for the patients that they are living, not for the patients, for the relatives of the patients that they are in the anti-cancer hospital. This is called Agios Savas, and it's just next in our neighborhood, and it is the biggest anti-cancer hospital. So they make this plan. They were talking only for objects that you can move them. They show them as empty houses and only these objects. So they said that we are going to take them and put inside people. After 7 months, the region of Attica gave, let's say, an interview, and they said that the Ministry of Protecting the People, which actually is the forces of police, they want to come and empty these houses. The contradiction here is that the contract said that this is empty houses, so we have only objects inside that we can move, and then after 7 months they said that we are going to evict the houses and take out the people. So we can see that they have a big plan. We read it as a central political order in case to evacuate the neighborhood, and more specific, to destroy our community. And at that moment, the problem is that they are taking money, European money, in case to evacuate the neighborhood, to get rid of the people, to kick them out, and to put other people inside. And also, you cannot do it because we never discuss with us, they have never approached us. For them, we are not existing, let's say. And during all these months and the struggle that we have given, we have visibility. Now the society knows that we are existing there, that we are 400 and more people. And we have all these structures, and we make all this political, cultural work, education work. So this is, has a very big visibility at that moment.
Yeah.
And
please, you can finish.
So our demands are that we want to cancel this plan, which is actually very easy because this is totally illegal, and we can explain why it is totally illegal. The other thing is that all the people, 400 and more people, we want to stay in our houses, in our place that we are living, working, our children go to school, etc. And the third one is that we want to renovate these historical buildings by ourselves. From inside, we renovate them all the time, so we want to do it from outside. So we made a company, let's say non-profit company, which actually is the legal vehicle, let's say, in case to renovate our houses. And there's a big group of a team, let's say, of professors of architectures, civil engineers, etc., that support our plan, and we are making this plan.
Thank you. So, as Dimos mentioned, you have taken this topic to the European Parliament. You held some meetings in there. You already have some meetings with the European parliamentarians, and Dimos mentioned that you have aimed to put some pressure on Greece government as well. But very shortly, we have limited time left. Very shortly, very briefly, do you really think the European Parliament will going to have any impact on Greece government to stop this project, and how did the discussions went in the European Parliament? Very shortly, please.
Yes, as we said, there was no visibility, and also it's a big boycottage of the media in Greece. So we came here in order to inform the parliament, the members of the parliament, that they are taking money from the Europe in case to kick out 400 people. So we had a lot of discussions, and I think today or tomorrow, more than 20, let's say, members of the parliament are going to make a question to inside the parliament about what's going on in Greece and all these various, all these different human, how we say in English?
Human rights.
Yes, the human rights, that they escalate them. They are against all this. So we inform them, and we think that they are going to press in that way the Greek government.
Thank you so much. So at the end of our program, we always take some message for Kurdish leader Mr. Abdullah Öcalan. So let's start with Dimos. Dear Dimos, how inspiring is leader Apo for you? And then of course, his imprisonment is still continues. So what is your call for freedom for Öcalan? As you follow up, there is a peace process in Turkey still continues. So what would you like to say about the freedom for Öcalan? Why Öcalan should be free?
First of all, Rebbe Apo is one of the most important figures in our societies and in our movements. Of course, worldwide, there are a lot of different figures like this, but still, Rebbe Apo remains one of the most important. For us, the imprisonment of Abdullah Öcalan represents the imprisonment of the Kurdish people. And the freedom for Abdullah Öcalan also represents the freedom for the Kurdish people. With our forces, all these years, we participate in the movements for the freedom of Abdullah Öcalan. And we support the new roadmap for peace that he's fighting for. We believe that the freedom of Abdullah Öcalan is totally connected not only with the freedom of Kurdish, but also the other peoples in Turkey, but the whole democratic process in the Middle East.
Thank you so much. So same for you as well, dear Valentini. What do you think about the imprisonment of Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan, and what is your call for freedom for Öcalan?
As Dimos said, I think I have been covered of what Dimos said. Just to add something, because Abdullah Öcalan has written a lot of things about women liberation, I want to add that this liberation is one of the most important in our days, because all of us, we are oppressed, but the women's and femininities are much more oppressed than the men, let's say, and masculinities. So women liberation, women self-organization is very, very important.
Valentini Shiova, thanks for joining us. Thank you for your valuable comments, and thank you so much, Dimos Karavoltios. Thanks for your comments and your information about the Prosfigika. That was very important for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we came to another end of the political dialogue program this week. We had a very important guest from Athens, Prosfigika. We have already talked about the Greece government's approach to the Prosfigika, and then we had lots of information about what really continues to happen in there and what is the demands from the people living down there. So thanks for listening to us, and see you on the next political dialogue program.